Proposed ordinance for a vote on adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
You said, that it came before the board.
Planning Commission.
Now, when you,
It's almost beeping out there.
Yeah,
I like my car. I don't know why it's beeping.
well, I was gonna tell everybody, but it shut off when I walked in.
If I'm a bee. Maybe somebody's trying to steal it, that'd be a good thing.
Nah, sorry.
So why don't you take care of that for me? Hey, you wanna take care of this, see if you can shut it off?
Sure.
I'll do it.
Good.
Probably a hammer might work.
what should,
I think it quit.
Thank you.
Think somebody's stealing? That'd be a good thing.
we lucky?
Thank you.
I thought, maybe I misheard you. I thought you said that in December 15th, December 2015, that it
Yeah.
came before the board.
Yes, it was up for advertising for adoption, or whatever that wording was, I can't recall.
Where did it come from if you guys didn't draft it?
We did draft it.
Oh, I thought you said it came before the board.
Yeah, we
in
drafted.
December of
It was
2015.
drafted by our attorney.
So is it, can you read the motion again?
A motion is to advertise for adoption.
I thought the word proposed was in there.
It is proposed. At this point, it'd be proposed to advertise it for adoption.
But it's no longer proposed gas and oil? Like it was in December?
It's still proposed, it's not adopted.
So in this last December, was it adopted?
No. It was not adopted, it was an intent to adopt. Back and read the
I did read it, but it was very, very confusing because it basically said it was a proposed ordinance.
it's before us tonight, and the motion is to advertise for adoption. That's, I don't even have to tell you what, about anything more about this, this is what I'm telling you, it's here.
So that means I was right.
No, you write whatever you want to write. That's where we're at.
Any other public comment?
So that's the same one.
It's
exact
the same
for
one that in December?
2015.
Yes.
Any other questions? How you vote?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Water and sewage plant operator.
One of two things has to happen. We either gotta quit bugging Tom Bibby, or we need to sell the water to sewer plant. Tom Bibby has let us know that not very happy with some of the harassment that he's received, and that he doesn't need Donington Township. And I think we need him a lot more than he needs us. There's not a lot of people around that have the credentials to operate the sewer part of the system and also the water part of the system at a cost that's affordable. I'd like to make a motion to establish policy that all calls for water and sewer issues are to come through the township office, not through the township's private contractor who operates the water and sewer system. Remove the plant operator's telephone number from the website, etc. Also from the phone system if it's on it, I guess. But the website, emergency calls will be directed to a supervisor who shall notify the contractor when circumstances warrant.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions? How you vote?
Wait.
Sorry, somebody else. This water and sewer thing, obviously it's been a topic of discussion for how long as I've been coming here, seems like. When you say that selling it, getting rid of that big ugly purple elephant,
I don't know if it's purple
Is that-
elephant, but
whatever you want to call it.
Pennsylvania American would like to own it. They've indicated that to us.
why I had brought that up
Yeah, we've talked about it many
a few
times.
months back, so that's a viable option now, they are interested? Or-
We've not had any further discussion with them. We have talked with them in the past. And they indicated they would take, they're not real keen on getting a sewer system. You know, they don't much like the sewer system. But they will take it if you force them to, if you don't give them the water without it.
I mean, if they're now have renewed interest or that's a viable option,
Yeah.
that's been a
The problem that we've.
burr under you guys' saddle for a long time.
One of the problems with going with them, if I recall from last time, and I've seen this happen in other places as well. The water's number is not the problem usually, because
The water what?
the water usually is not the problem. They usually, their whatever rates they charge, Claysville for water, they charge other places the same rate. They have a rate for their systems. Sewer rates is a different matter. They can do anything they want to do. It's not, you know, it's not regulated in the same fashion. You know, basically what it costs them to operate, they can charge whatever they.
But Penn American wouldn't be charging this, our water comes from Wheeling, so Wheeling sets the rate.
No, the water system is owned by, Penn American could own that water system, and they'd buy their water from Wheeling, or they could bring their own down. They talked about, that was another option they talked about, is bringing water down 40. And then that's why we talked about going out Ely Road and then a loop, you know, to catch some houses. That's been talked about, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, that Ed talked with Pennsylvania American. I'm not sure, maybe John was in on that conversation too, but, it's been discussed. It's still a possibility.
But how does that help the current loss of water in the town now?
Wouldn't change, it has no effect on it. Something wouldn't be our problem then, it'd be Pennsylvania American's problem.
If that's, again, always been a problem, we've had the discussion that it's,
Well,
isn't it losing or running in the red, or
we're not running in the red.
it seems like it's a,
It's not a moneymaker, believe me, but if you get a major malfunction or major grinder pump or one of the pump stations go down, then you have major dollars tied up in it, real quick. You know, you think you put money aside and money there, it's not there. I mean, it's there, but it goes quickly when you start fixing those kind of things. It's, never
were they willing to assume the debt?
Well, that would have to be part of the deal. We wouldn't give them the water company without getting rid of the debt.
Right.
You know, and that was a big issue when they took over Claysville, was the debt.
How does our rates compare to Claysville?
I don't know that. You know, it's like anywhere else. If you use a lot of water, you pay a lot of money.
Westelli pays a bulk rate and then 50% on top of that.
And how's that?
We're the only place in the area that Wheeling sells to that pays a price, a bulk rate, and then 50% on top.
This sounds like if if that's a viable option that benefits the township and you can get rid of that, a major burr under your saddle off your plate.
Well,
You know what I mean? That's been a topic.
The most recent discussion we had with Pennsylvania American, and again, I wasn't in on the conversation, but I believe that Stout was. John, were you in that conversation when they had Pennsylvania American
I
there?
sat with him when he sat and talked to them a couple times, but I
And
wasn't.
part of that was talking about the Ely Road, the Dry Ridge, parts of Dry Ridge project. Was all talked about as viable options. And they have to make it worth their while in order to be interested. They're not interested in taking a losing proposition. But don't be misunderstood. The people of West Alexander were very happy when they got water. They weren't so tickled about sewage, but they didn't have a lot of choice. Once you get water, the DEP mandates a lot of things. You can't any longer dump things over the hill. So, kind of where we're at.
Any other questions? How you vote?
Yes.
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 Read and discuss the following sections of the municipal planning code.
Okay, section 106 in the municipalities planning code. Appropriation, grants, and gifts. The governing body of every municipality is hereby authorized and empowered to make such appropriations as it may see fit to accept gifts, grants, or bequests from public or private sources for the purpose of carrying out the powers and duties conferred by this act, and to enter into agreements regarding the acceptance and utilization of such grants, gifts, or bequests, further providing for recording plats and deeds, for applicability of ordinance amendments, and for validity of ordinance and substantive questions. Section 2, under Planning Agency, Section 201, creation of planning agencies. The governing body of any municipality shall have the power to create or abolish by ordinance, planning commission, planning department, or both. An ordinance which creates a planning commission and a planning department shall specify which of the powers and duties conferred on the planning agencies by this act. Each shall exercise and may confer upon each additional powers, duties, and advisory functions not inconsistent with this act. In lieu of a planning commission or a planning department, the governing body may elect to assign the powers and duties conferred by this act upon a planning committee, comprised of members appointed from the governing body. The engineer, and this is the part that I highlighted, the engineer for the municipality or the engineer appointed by the governing body shall serve as the planning agency as engineering advisor. The solicitor for the municipality or an attorney appointed by the governing body shall serve the planning agency as legal advisor. Section 210, administrative and technical assistance. The appointing authority may employ administrative and technical services to the aid in carrying out the provisions of this act, either as consultants on particular matters or as regular employees of the municipality. A county planning agency, with the consent of its governing body, may perform planning services for any municipality whose governing body requests such assistance and may enter into agreements or contracts for such work. Section 211, assistance. Planning agency may, with the consent of the governing body, accept and utilize any funds, personnel, or other assistance made available by the county, the Commonwealth or federal government, or any of their agencies, or from private sources. The governing body may enter into agreements or contracts regarding the acceptance or utilization of funds or assistance in accordance with the governmental procedures of the municipality. A lot of information in that book. If you get the chance to read Municipalities Planning Code, and every time I pick it up and read it, I learn something.
Motions in response to recommendations proposed by the Donegal Township Planning Commission, November 1, 2016.
In accordance with Section 106 of the Municipalities Planning Code, the supervisors of Donegal Township acknowledge they are empowered to accept gifts in furtherance of its duties under the MPC. Section 211 of the Municipalities Planning Code, the MPC, requires approval of the governing body to accept and utilize such funds.
Want to read the
The
motion?
motion. Board of Supervisors hereby declares it does not sanction nor give approval to conduct a zoning survey because they have concerns over the fairness of such an undertaking at this point in time. The township shall, in writing, identify the Donegal Township Planning Commission and the Washington County Board of Elections of the decisions made by the Board of Supervisors. Respectfully, the Board of Supervisors also must decline the acceptance of an offer of payment from any or all private sources for conducting such a survey. That the township would be willing to accept any and all private gifts and or other funding to go to the general fund of Donegal Township.
I'll second the motion.
Public comment on the motion.
Who wants to go first?
Have at it.
It doesn't matter.
Good, JD.
It's very disappointing. I thought Tuesday night's meeting was a good meeting. I thought it was conducted in a way, I thought maybe you guys could learn from that meeting. It was done in a proper way with public comment and input to the board, working together with the people that you represent that it was productive, it was give and take, it was comment, it was people speaking and them listening and going back and forth, working together as a board representing the community, working with the community. You had community members, the one and only person that spoke out against it at first was from a monetary or expense issue, was Mr. Rogers. And then you had numerous people in the community offer to pay for it, so that goes away. You had, after the fact, he even agreed with it, so you had a unanimous decision by your planning commission to move forward with it. You had people in the community that was going to pay for it, so it would cost the taxpayers $0, and it was non-binding. It's simply a survey or opinion poll that is a win-win, and that is a give and take. So why in the world would you, I don't know how much time and money we spent to do that bit there, but why in the world would you want to quash that or not entertain that or go against it, something that another, another board, township board that agreed to, and under, much discussion, much deliberation, and worked it out. That just seems so counterproductive, and you're taking steps backwards, and I don't understand what the big deal is. What are you afraid of? What's that survey gonna hurt, especially if it costs you absolutely nothing? I don't understand. Can you explain or elaborate?
Well, no, I'm not gonna, I think it's self-explanatory.
Well, it's really not, or I wouldn't ask.
It's self-explanatory.
It's not.
I'm not gonna argue with it. I'm not gonna do that.
It's not explanatory at all. They made a decision, and you're overriding it. So once again,
We're doing what the code tells us we can do. Okay?
if the code told you you could go out there and hang people, would you do it? I mean, come on. You're being counterproductive with another
Code meeting
board.
on, Dave.
Any other questions?
So
Comments?
is the motion,
To shut us down.
no, I'm a little confused about the part that you read about,
We'll give you a copy of this when we're done. You can have the exact wording.
well, we'd appreciate that, but I guess the question is, so you're not allowed to take donations?
We are permitted to take that. You wanna give a donation to our general fund, we're glad to take it.
But we could give it to the general fund and that could be used to pay for the,
No,
No,
they're used for general fund.
these are general fund purposes. We've had people in years past give to the township.
yes, we're very well aware of that. He's sitting right there. The question we have is,
One of them sitting up there.
that's what I'm saying, the one of them sitting right there.
Now, it'd be nice if a lot of you would do the
There's
same
nothing
thing.
illegal about it. Yeah,
There was also nothing illegal or wrong about saying, well, we'll pay for the postage.
My question to you, Kathy, didn't you do a survey on Facebook about zoning a while ago?
Yes,
How did that turn out?
it turned out that 98% of people were against it, and one person with the same, I don't know if you know this or not, but each computer has an ID, and one person with the ID voted like 50 times. So that's, the same person voted.
No,
'Cause-
that's fine.
So I don't understand, you said the other night that it doesn't really matter what the survey comes out or not, they are charged with pursuing it because you told them to. So what does the survey hurt?
Not only that, you said something about it, you didn't, I'd ask you, if you want, you can read it to clarify, but there was something in there that said you guys didn't feel that it would be done fairly, or something to that effect.
Yes.
Maybe not exactly.
How much correct information is out there right now, JD?
Well, okay,
Did
but
you, no,
the
did
suggestion-
did you or did you not go down to the lady in Claysville that has the detail shop and tell her that she won't even be able to detail cars no more down there if the zoning goes through?
that is not what I said at all.
What'd you say?
What I said
exactly-
I'll tell you exactly what I said. If I had the draft in front of me of your proposed zoning, I read for her verbatim what it said. And that's all I said. I didn't make anything up.
The original,
Everything I stated was in black and white from your zoning ordinance. Period. No, that is the absolute 100% truth.
Don't you realize she's in Claysville? She's not even in Donovan?
I didn't know that then, and if you recall, I asked that in a meeting because I didn't know.
We have people right off the ridge that thinks if the zoning goes through, they're gonna have to quit farming. Now, what kind of correct information is that?
Do you recall that I asked that in a meeting to you guys, took the answer, and said thank you? Because I didn't know that. I asked the question, because they were in Donington, Placerville's in Donington Township, so if you recall, I asked that question. If I don't know
One
something,
gentleman
I'll-
still believes that to this day.
What's that?
One gentleman still believes that to this day. If zoning goes through, he's gonna quit farming.
Okay,
Who told him that?
I have no clue.
Maybe come up with it on its own.
I don't think so.
We do have minds of our own.
I don't
My
think
question
so.
is, you said if it's not fair, the way it was proposed, it was gonna be done under council, a total unbiased entity with attorneys, and through the county election board. So you're saying the county election board would not be an unbiased party, and it would not be fair done that way? It's taking it out of our hands, your hands, whatever, and done by a total independent, unbiased, professional, that's what they do. So how could that not, how could you be more fair than that? I don't understand that.
Good, Tom.
Yeah, I don't understand how a neighboring township can do this, and it didn't cost them $24,000 or $30,000, and they're all happy.
Well,
And they don't have all these meetings and arguing and all this here stuff goes on.
First of all, if you're going to compare West Findlay to us, you better compare apples to apples, because there's no comparison. We have one compressor station, we have two, or a second one going in. We have,
Now, we've already got two.
we have two sewage plants, we have a bicycle shop, we have a gas station, we have a Dollar General, we have 2 or 3 trucking companies. What's West Findlay have?
Couple coal mines.
How are you gonna,
Yeah, they
how
got-
are you gonna compare them to Donovan?
Is Majorsville in West Findlay?
When's the last time you drove through Burnsville?
Is
Didn't it really
Majorsville in
doesn't it
West
really do
Findlay?
them well?
I'm asking you, is Majorsville in West Findlay?
Majorsville is in West Virginia.
Yeah.
2 points
Not
there.
all of it, not all of it.
What did you
Well, they
talking
got,
about
they
Majorsville?
got a big gasification plant there.
In West Virginia.
Not all
The
of
gas
it.
plant's not?
No.
No, Donnie Beck and them where they lived and they bought it out,
Right.
they lived in Pennsylvania.
My oldest
I went to
was
school with them.
Bakersville,
Yeah,
Is it?
PA.
I
Right.
don't know where you're at down there.
right. I mean, but like I said, they didn't have all this here, money going out and conflict and arguing that there.
And as for driving through Burnsville, it's what the people want. Who are you to drive through Burnsville and say, wow, this didn't work out?
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Anyway, Dave, to answer your question, I did read, and after I asked the question and clarified, I was reading exactly what it said in the zoning, that if it passes, this is what it says. I didn't change anything, I read it straight from your, and how it said and how it could be interpreted. So the fact that Claysville doesn't fall under that, I asked that, it does not, that's fine, ask, answered, not a problem, that was before that question was answered. Secondly, if you want to compare apples to apples, I totally agree. If that's the fact, then, I know I brought it up to Carolyn before, you can't compare Donegal to Peters Township or Upper St. Clair,
Exactly.
and that's apples to dump
And
trucks.
believe me, our ordinance is far from that.
Well, not a lot of stuff that was in it. But again, we're off base, we're back to zoning. The question on the motion is about the survey. What would it hurt? So what you're doing is going against what the planning commission, you charged them with the task. This is what they come up with to move forward. Not only that, but they're also gonna
They're a recommending body.
right, they're also gonna move forward with going ahead and getting informed on the zoning and getting educated,
JD,
not waiting on a survey.
They have been more than 12 months trying to determine what their duties are. And they're not any closer than today. They've asked for all kind of documents. They asked for municipality planning code. I saw that each of them got it. They were supposed to have a meeting to go through it. They have never cracked it open at the meeting to talk about it. They asked for copies of the ordinances. They wanted the comprehensive plan. I got it for them. They wanted a magazine for Keith to get the township magazine. I saw that he got it. Okay, they have historically Donegal Township Planning Commission for years have always, subdivisions has been their issue, except that wasn't why they were created. They were created for Chuck Mahan's trailer court. And Kathy probably can corroborate that. And we ended up in court with a man for 15 years. And we paid when it was over with.
They were created for one person? Is that what you're saying?
That was reenacted for one part, reactivated. It sat dormant.
It started in the 70s,
It actually
believe it or
started in
not.
the 60s. And I've got a comprehensive plan in there from 1968 that says in the comprehensive plan, they recommended at that time, Donegal Township enact zoning. And they've been in every comprehensive plan since then. Those people are citizens too that sit down and put those together. Okay, there are people that have looked at it and that's what the recommendation's been. It's not just come from this board. What we had proposed early on was to work with the people, and you were one of them, and I give you credit for being here. And Mike Smith was another one, Kathy Gilmore and Catherine Prescott were another one, and Lee Rogers and Tony Pasquarello was another one. You guys came for almost a year, you guys came to meetings, and the supervisors, this board, never had any say in what was in that ordinance until it came down to almost the end. There was a couple things we looked at individually and said, we'd like to see that, or we don't want to see it. If the residents came and said, Carolyn, we don't want that way, we want that changed, most of those changes that were changed were done, because the residents requested them. We tried to come out with, the only plan your group wants is no zoning at all, zero. That's not a compromise, Ed. Okay, compromise is let's come up with a working ordinance that works for everybody. And you don't want any. You want zero laws and become a lawless society. You know? That's not funny, Tom. That's
It
not
most
funny.
certainly is funny.
Why is it
because-
funny?
Well, I growed up in this town,
And so did I.
and,
Well,
and I guarantee you one thing, not a problem.
what's not?
When I was growing up, it was not a problem.
No, well,
Henry
what
Russ,
wasn't that?
let me tell you something, Henry Russ Meisel and them was on there, I rode in a grader and that with them. They didn't have a permanent job where they sit in the damn
No.
shanty on rainy days, and that they got the job done, went back to farming, whatever they had to do. And that there, they didn't
Well, I
sit
tell
here
you,
and
there was a
argue
time
over this
There
stuff.
was a time when the supervisors, this board right up here, helped themselves too. Okay? We had supervisors that resigned over alleged theft.
I don't think you wanna
We
go
had,
there.
no,
I
I'm
don't
there,
think you wanna
I'm
go
there, I'm there. We had supervisors that collected insurance benefits while on this board, full health insurance. We had an assessor, Mrs. Wright, that collected health insurance on township's dime.
Excuse me?
You're a grandmother. Okay? We had tax collector that had full health insurance. Okay? We had, who else? The auditors, the board of auditors.
I'm
even had health
slightly
insurance.
confused. I thought we were discussing a
I'm telling you
survey.
what, you talk about the government trying to do the right thing. We didn't always do the right thing here. Board's not
You
always
ain't
done
doing the right thing
He's not
now
doing right
either.
now.
Well, that's your opinion, okay? And you're
Hal,
entitled to it.
I do object to the fact that you basically have said that the planning commission is not doing their job. It was kicked back to the planning commission. They tried to do it, you took it away, you sent it back to them when they were in,
They never tried to do it. They never tried to do it.
I've read the minutes.
They never took up the zoning project.
I've read the minutes where they had meetings with you and Carolyn Yeagle that
We brought
lasted for
Carolyn in
hours.
and met with her, that is correct. That is true.
Yes, so I would consider that, and you met with her a second time, and then the third time you said we're taking it away and forming a planning committee.
It became very evident that they were not willing, didn't want to do it. And so therefore, we said, what are our options? And Carolyn said, and I read the options right here.
You read the
And those
options,
options are still on the table, by the way.
except for the fact that the ordinance of Donegal Township, the code of Donegal Township, expressly says that the planning commission is to tackle zoning. That's their job.
It does, in accordance with the MPC.
So if you're frustrated by them,
No, and believe me, in this day, right now today, we have other options. We may form a planning department and do it, okay?
by ordinance,
By ordinance, yeah.
But Doug, the whole
but
point,
you
But
can't
we'd
have,
rather not, we would rather it be a plan that a lot of people
Look
had
here.
to put in.
by ordinance. The first ordinance has to be to do away with the planning commission.
No, you don't,
Yes,
they can
you
code
cannot have two.
Yes, you can.
No, you
Oh, yes, you can. You read the code here, Ed.
I've read
Get
it.
the MPC and read it. It says they
I've
can
read it.
coexist, but you have to define their duties by ordinance.
But you already have one ordinance that
Yeah.
says that that's their job.
Well, and it can be repealed.
So are you saying that you're going to abolish the planning
I'm
commission?
not saying that at all. I'm just telling you that's what this MPC says.
Oh, we know the other options that it has. We just find it odd that you would hamper the plan. You could complain about the planning commission and then hamper them and tie their
I'm not complaining about the
hands.
planning commission.
You just said that they didn't do what you wanted them to
I'm not complaining
do.
about them. I'm complaining about what they did then. And the fact that they're moving ahead, and that's what they're supposed to do.
Two things. First of all, you made a comment about lawlessness. That's crazy. The law is right there, that man right there. And I guarantee you, everybody in this room, I being one, has the utmost respect for that man and about everybody in this
That has nothing to do
community.
with what we're
He has
talking
shown, yes, because you just said you want a lawless community, lawless order. That man is the best thing
He
that's
does
happened to
not
this.
enforce that kind of
Please,
law.
let me finish. That man is the best thing that's happened to this community, this township,
How do you think he got
in
here?
years.
How do you think he got here?
I assume he put
How do
in
you
an
think, no, how do you think
application.
he got here? You want to tell him how you got here, Keith?
His car?
Who courted you? Who called you?
Is that relevant? I'm
I'm
saying,
telling you, there was.
he's a very valuable
Yes,
asset.
yes, and I
Very
courted
well-
that man,
That's great. I commend you on that.
yeah.
That's an excellent choice, because I have the utmost respect for him. I think he's the best thing that happened in this township in a long time, and the people respect him, and he
And
carries
I don't
himself
disagree with
quite
that at
well.
all.
The second thing, what you just said and what we're saying, we're not coming together here. The meeting Tuesday night, you guys were there, is the best meeting this township has had in a long time, where there was give and take. There was open communication. I didn't hear anything bad come out of that. There was open communication, a small community, people working together with the board, and it was a good outcome. And it was give and take. It wasn't one-sided. It was give and take. Zach, you weren't there the other night, right?
Nope.
It was a good meeting. I wish you would have been there. It really was. And you had the governing body and the citizens that you're representing working together, like small government
And why
should.
can't we work together to create an ordinance that works? Why can't we do that?
That was also
was the
discussed and
plan.
on the table.
No,
They also made the motion.
Do you mean
Doug, if
ordinance or do you
if
mean
paid
zoning?
attention,
Zoning ordinance.
They
Why can't we
also,
create one that works? It's because it's about oil and gas.